Hi, in this video I'm going to explain what subdomains are. Let's take an example and let's say that you own this domain, example.com. Okay, this is the domain you registered or you bought. That domain that you own is what's called a second level domain. And that is the first level. That .com or .net or .org or whatever, that is something you cannot control. That's a given. What you can buy or what you can register is basically this second level domain. There you can pick any name you wish and you register that with that extension. Now, anything to the left of that second level domain that you own is your property. So if you own example.com and let's say you wish to have something like that, books, what you could do if you have this domain registered at somebody like GoDaddy or hosting it at somebody like GoDaddy or something like that, you can create numerous subdomains to your domain name. Each subdomain basically can be seen as a subdivision or a self-contained unit to your website. Some websites are pretty diverse. They could contain a lot of stuff. So it would make sense to cut them up or divide them up into certain categories or subdomains. And this subdomain, you see, a subdomain like this third level domain, this is the third level domain, has a point or a dot between it and the second level. The same thing as this dot here is between the second level and the first level. And you can add any number of further domains down the line. Like, I don't know, fiction. That would be a fourth level domain. Now, most websites go down to third level because with the fourth level it gets ridiculously complex, and the URL would be way too long. Some good examples of subdomains would be, for instance, you could use a subdomain to host a section or a subsection of your site. For instance, Yahoo does that. I'll show you. For instance, here you can see de.yahoo.com. That is the German Yahoo service, and they are hosting this German service on a subdomain de.yahoo.com, and presumably other local services of Yahoo are served in their own subdomains. I presume if I go and do ES, I would probably get the Spanish Yahoo. Yeah, there you go, Yahoo España. And you see, so now here is a further subdivision of yahoo.com, basically the Spanish service in its own subdomain, and so on. Another function you could use subdomains for is to redirect. For instance, finance.google.com should take me to finances, and if I go there, it redirects. You can see here the URL is going to change soon. See, it changed to google.com/finance. So what happened is that you type in a domain, and that domain doesn't actually host anything, but basically takes you to a certain section of that website, google.com. Another thing you could use subdomains for, if you have special services. Let's say on your example.com you have your downloads where people could download stuff. So you could have all your downloads hosted in a subdomain called downloads.example.com, or your images where people can look at your images .example.com, etc. So that's one thing of using subdomains for. Another function you could use subdomains for are to create so-called domain hacks. I mean, most famous of them is this company, or this website, delicious. Basically, this is the first level domain, this is their second level domain, and this is the third level or subdomain they did, and together they created that word delicious. Another company not so famous is, for instance, Confirmin. Yeah, this is the top level domain. IN is the top level domain of India. They have, I'm just gonna do the dots better. Confirm, firm is then the second level domain, and that would be the third level domain. So you can see subdomains have numerous functions that you can use them for. Now, one question website owners often agonize about or think about is, how do I divide my site? I mean, what's better? Let me get some space. What is better? If I have something like that, books.example.com, and let's say what else? Images.example.com, or is it better to do it like that? Example.com/books and example.com/images. What's a better approach? To organize my site in subdomains, or to organize my sites in subdirectories? These are directories. Anything after a slash is a directory or an underunit of your main website. Whereas a subdomain is a completely separate website. Well, one thing is that search engines treat each subdomain as a separate site. So this is a separate site, this is a separate site, and the main site, example.com, is another separate site. Here, all of them belong to the same site, basically example.com. So basically, if let's say this site ranks quite high in Google, this has no effect either on this guy or on this guy. Whereas here, if here books rank high, this has an effect on this whole thing, this whole site. So I think somebody has to, every website owner or webmaster has to decide which way he likes it better. A lot of people, what they do, or a lot of websites, what they do, they use subdomains like Google in the Google example is that they use subdomains to redirect you to subdirectories, because sometimes subdomains look cleaner and are easier to remember than subdirectories. However, another disadvantage of subdomains is if I forgot the subdomain, if I go and say, okay, instead of book, I go book.example.com, I will not get anything. The browser will say domain not found. Whereas if I do a misspelling here, well, I will at least land somewhere on that site. I can then use a navigation or anything to find, that directory that I wish. But here, any misspelling here, I don't even land anywhere near that site. I mean, I'm just gonna get an error message from my browser.